Today's topic, persistence. Hi, I'm Doug Holt, author of Your Own Story, and this is your Daily Growth Hack, where each day we give you a tip, trick, or insight to help you up-level what we're called the 5 to Thrive. That is your mind, your body, your soul, your relationships, and of course, your business. This morning I was talking to a business owner, and during the conversation, he was telling me a story about a sales call that he had. Now, what he didn't know is I actually knew the person that he was calling upon, yet they were in two different continents in the world. I actually knew both of them, which was really fabulous. So I was listening to his story, and what he told me was that the actual conversation just fell flat. Now, he's saying, Doug, we were having the conversation, and it absolutely just fell flat and went nowhere. So what did I do, of course? I reached out to the other person and asked them their side of the story. I said, geez, I didn't know you guys knew each other. That's fantastic. I go, he told me he reached out to you and was offering his services. What happened on your end? And he said, Doug, actually, he reached out to me. It just wasn't a great time. And the conversation fell dead because of all of these things happening in my life. Yeah, he was a business owner, but he was having relationship issues. And so when you're having relationship issues, like a health issue, for example, it's the same thing. You drop everything else around you. And that's why I speak to business owners, not just about business tactics, but about everything going on in their life, because it all applies. It's very holistic. And that's exactly what was happening to him. And he said, yeah, after that time, I just kind of forgot about it, and he never followed up. He never reached out again. Now, we're talking about big, high-ticket sales here. This could have been a game changer for both parties. One, the first business owner that I spoke to, it would have been a game changer financially for him to take on this new high-level client that had a lot of revenue for his product and service. And for the person I was speaking to that was being pitched, right, it would have helped him because he needed the product and service and actually ended up buying it later on from somebody else. So these two, not knowing I was a conduit between them, missed each other because of lack of persistence. What got me to thinking, right, after this conversation, some laughter and exchanging messages between the two of them and really ribbing on both of them, giving them both a hard time, I sat down and started wondering, how often do I fall short, right? How often do I stop my persistence? How often do I stop really short of the finish line in all my 5 to Thrive? So I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. Grab your journal right now. Write out your 5 to Thrive. Now, of course, if you're driving or running right now, just think of your 5 to Thrive, but I do want you to do the work because this is a game changer. These little tips actually help you uncover and peel back layers, right? So I wrote out my 5 to Thrive, and I was like, geez, where in my mind have I given up on lack of persistence? One of those things for me was learning Spanish. It's something that's been on my mind for years, and I committed to doing it this year, and I have. However, I haven't been persistent in pursuing it. I haven't been persistent in pursuing it because of the excuses that I've made. And I thought that was interesting. Where else have I made these excuses or have I not been persistent? And I started digging a little bit deeper. And as I drilled down, I noticed a trend in me. Now, I did the same thing for my body. Where else have I not been persistent in working on my goals? Where else in my relationships? Oh, wow. I can look at my past and think of so many relationships where I haven't been persistent, in friendships, in dating, all these things. And I started to see trends. And I did this with my soul. Now, frankly, I couldn't find as many examples in the area of soul for myself, but you might be able to. And then in business, wow, business was also eye-opening for me. And I thought about also my coaching clients, those high-level executives and business owners that I work with. Now, we're talking about these business owners. They're all making over $500,000 each year, right? That's my average client take home. So when I think about them, when I think about all the persistencies that they've lost, and the areas that come up for them most often are relationships and business. And I could see trends with each and every one of them. So I'm going to ask you to look at the trends in your life. See, once you see the trends, you can pivot and make changes and make sure you're not making those same mistakes 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I want you to learn from my mistakes, but more importantly, I want you to learn from your own. And that's where you become your own coach. Knowing what's going on and being able to pivot and turn in the direction that you want to follow allows you to be the author of your own story rather than following somebody else's script or a script you've created subconsciously over years in your own head. I bet when you pull out your journal, you're going to see in your 5 to Thrive some areas where you could be more persistent and maybe you've backed off just a little bit too much. Maybe you haven't pushed the envelope a little bit in the area of your business. Maybe it's calling upon a potential customer. Maybe it's calling an old customer back. Maybe it's in a relationship. Maybe you haven't been persistent with your spouse about spending quality time, about intimacy, perhaps. Or maybe it's you haven't spent time with your kids because you have teenagers and they're pushing you away. Maybe this is the time for you to be persistent. Or what about the area of your mind? Maybe you're like me and you've been wanting to study a language and you've just given it up, or a book, or an excuse one of my clients had. He had a story saying, I can't read. I just can't read. I've just never been good at reading, Doug, et cetera, et cetera. He now reads a book a week. He's just hasn't been persistent. When he actually put it into practice, became persistent, I'm talking dog-eared persistent, day to day, now he is a fluent reader and absolutely loves it. He's passionate about books and is always giving me book recommendations. That's what I want for you. That allows you to write your own script and be the author of your own story. I won't harp on you anymore. That's it for me today. I want you to peel back that onion and live life with passion. Go over to authorofyourownstory.com where you can get the latest tips, tricks, and techniques delivered right to your inbox each and every day so you don't miss a thing. Also, as always, I want you to go out and inspire somebody else simply by being the author of your own story. I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed today's Daily Growth Hacks. Please put your comments right down below and remember to click subscribe. This way we can ensure that we're delivering these daily growth hacks right to you each and every day. On behalf of the whole team here, remember, go out and be the author of your own story.